Hey guys, so we're going to go through 1 and 2 Chronicles today. We're going to go through these books rapidly, and then you can watch it at your leisure. My goal is to get the whole Bible up on my channel, book by book, as soon as humanly possible. So let's go through the 12 signs for all that are new. The first sign I talk about is Aquarius, which is represented by the man. Now, technically, Aries begins the year, but our year starts in Aquarius. So it's the story of Zeus. I'm sorry, our year starts in Capricorn, but Aquarius is technically considered the first sign. So the first sign I talk about is Aquarius, which is represented by the man with the water pitcher. Now, there's key words that resemble or represent Aquarius. For example, son of man or man, because this is a sign of a man. Baptism, because this is how you baptize someone. Water pitcher, because this is a water pitcher. Fountain, because a lot of fountains are built like this. Stream, river, pond, lake, ocean, sea, all water related things because there's water in the picture, even though Aquarius is an air sign, whereas Pisces is the mutable water sign. So Aquarius and Pisces, we're talking about two water signs. Now, how do you know which water they're talking about since they represent the same thing? Well, it depends on the pattern it makes in the sky, and we'll show you that. So in Aries, you have the ram. In Aries, you have March 21st, which is a spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day, 12-hour night. It's also the Passover, or the passing over of the sun over the equator and back on its way up to its height at the summer solstice. In Christianity, the passing over is changed, and it's called the resurrection of God's Son. And then you also have the Jewish Passover, which is when the angel of death passes over all the Egyptian houses, and anyone that doesn't have the lamb or the ram's blood smeared on the doorpost, their firstborn sons get killed. So whenever you hear ram, lamb, shepherd, or ram's horn, you're talking about Aries. Taurus is the bull. And when you look at the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull. This is how they did it in ancient times. You'd see Taurus in the sky and you'd have to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seeds so you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. So whenever you hear bull, ox, calf, or cow, cow being the female bull, you're talking about Taurus. Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. It's the story of Achilles. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, you're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab, and it's the sideways moving creature. Just as the sun rises a degree on its axis starting on December 25th, it stops on June 21st. Then for 3 days, it rises to the same degree, hence moving sideways, like the crab shuffles. Then on June 25th, it lowers a degree. And then every other day continues to lower an additional degree. And the crab in the ancient Egyptian time was known as the scarab. So whenever you hear crab or beetle, you're talking about Cancer. And Leo is the king, the lion, the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you hear someone saying in the Bible, lion, lioness, or cub, you're talking about Leo. Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. Remember before when we said that you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins would cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make the bread for the year. So whenever you hear virgin, wheat, grain, seed, barley, corn, these are all things that are harvested during Virgo, you're talking about Virgo. Libra is the justice. It's the scales. It's the balance. It's the just one. And the reason it's the justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. The Jews always celebrate the new year around the fall equinox, and 8 days after the Jewish New Year, you have a Jewish holiday called Yom Kippur, which is the day of judgment. Well, of course, the day of judgment happens in Libra, the justice, the scales, the balance, the just one. Libra is also wine season, which is when you plant the grapes in Taurus, you press the wine here. So all law related things: law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court, wine, vineyard, wine press, grapes, juice, for example. Olive oil or olive oil is also in Libra. That's when you crush the olives to make the oil for the year. And Scorpio is the scorpion. He is the betrayer. When a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips. It's why the mafia has the kiss of death. And it's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. So the sun is judged in Libra and it's betrayed in Scorpio. Finally, in Sagittarius, You have the man on the horse with the bow and the arrow. He shoots the bow, and he shoots the arrow into the sun, effectively killing it. Why? Because on December 21st, the sun is at its lowest point. It cannot rise any lower. It's dead. It's the dead of winter. It remains at that lowest level for 3 days, which is why Jesus was dead for 3 days. When on December 25th, or the birth of God's son, it rises another degree and starts to make its way back up top. So whenever you hear horse, bow and arrow, spear, or horseman, that's Sagittarius. Finally, you have Capricorn, who's the goat. For no other reason than the goat likes to climb the mountain. Now, if you look at the zodiac wheel on the right, Capricorn's all the way at the bottom. So you can imagine the sun climbing to the left a degree a day, going through all the signs until it gets to its height in Cancer. That's the summer solstice. And it starts to climb during Capricorn, which is the goat, just like the goat likes to climb the mountain. So those are the 12 signs. So let's just jump right into it. 1-5-18, 44,760 men ready for military service, able-bodied men who could handle shield and sword and who could use a bow. They seized the livestock of the Hagrids, 50,000 camels, 250,000 sheep, 2,000 donkeys. So the man with the bow is Sagittarius. The camel is Camelopardalis, which is located in Gemini. Gemini and Sagittarius are opposing signs. The sheep are Aries, and the donkey is Ascellus Borealis, which is in Cancer. Cancer and Gemini are connecting signs. So you're seeing these patterns, guys, as always, in every single book. It's the same animals they use, and it's the same patterns in the sky that they form. Others were assigned to take care of the furnishings and all the other articles of the sanctuary, as well as the special flour and wine and the olive oil, incenses, and spices. So the flour is Virgo. The wine and the olive oil are Libra. These are connecting signs. As far as the spices go, incense and spices, frankincense and myrrh are examples. For example, they are olive plants. They are plants. They are part of the olive plant family, which makes them Libra as well. 1-10-10. They put his armor in the temple of the gods and hung up his head in the temple of Dagon. So what is Dagon? Who was Dagon? Let's talk about Dagon for a second. As you can see here, the Pope's hat is called a mitre. It comes from Mithra, which was a fish god during this time period, but it was symbolized in Dagon worship. See, if you see the middle picture right here, you'll see the head of Dagon, you'll see the fish and the scales. You'll see the mitre of the bishop or the Pope is the same exact thing. Now, the picture on the left is what happens when you turn the Pope's mitre to the side. It's a fish head. And it's because they're going back to fish gods. Okay, Jesus technically is a fish god. He's a astrotheological, anthropomorphized allegory of the sun from the age of Pisces going through the 12 zodiac signs. So it's the god of Pisces. That's Jesus. That's why you have a Jesus fish on the car, because it goes back to this fish worship. That's why Jesus feeds the masses with 2 fish on the mound. Well, the 2 fish are Pisces. Naphtali came bringing food on donkeys, camels, mules, and oxen. There were plentiful supplies of flour, fig cakes, raisins, wine, olive oil, cattle, and sheep, for there was joy in Israel. So the donkey is Ascellus Borealis, which is in Cancer. The camel is Camelopardalis, which is in Gemini. These are connecting signs. The oxen and the Taurus, which connect, the oxen are Taurus, which connect to Gemini, which connect to Cancer. So now you have 3 signs in a row. The flour is Virgo. The raisin or the grapes is Libra. The wine is Libra. The olive oil is also Libra. The cattle and sheep are Taurus and Aries. These are connecting signs. Now you have 4 signs in a row here. You have Aries, the sheep, Taurus, the bull, Camelopardalis, the camel, in Gemini, and the donkey is Ascellus Borealis in Cancer. You have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. This 2.5 line sentence provides all these examples, as well as a pattern of 4 connecting signs, not just signs, which is great enough, but these are connecting signs. Because God has helped the Levites, who are carrying the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, The 7 bulls and 7 rams were sacrificed. The bulls are Taurus and the rams are Aries. These are connecting signs. Shimei the Ramathite was in charge of the vineyards. Joash was in charge of the supplies of olive oil. Obil the Ishmaelite was in charge of the camels. Jediah the Meronothite was in charge of the donkeys. Jaziz the Hagrite was in charge of the flocks. The vineyard are Libra. The olive oil is also Libra. Now the camel is Camelopardalis, which is in Gemini. The donkey is a Salus Borealis, which is in Cancer. So Gemini and Cancer connect. The flocks would be the goat, Capricorn, the sheep, Aries, and the bulls and the cows, Taurus. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, 4 connecting signs in a row. Also, Aries and Libra are opposing signs. They are making very distinct patterns in the sky. They are outlining the heavens for you, is what they're doing. They're encoding this in a story form, but what they're really trying to do is get you to understand your place in the universe. Now we're up to 2 Chronicles, which isn't very long. I will give your servants the woodsmen who cut the timber, 20,000 cores of ground wheat, 20,000 cores of barley, 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of olive oil. So the wheat and the barley, the bread and the beer, is Virgo. The wine and the olive oil are Libra. Virgo and Libra are connecting signs. More patterns, guys. And King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 20,000 heads of cattle and 120,000 sheep and goats. The cattle is Taurus, the sheep are Aries, these are connecting signs, and the goat is Capricorn. They also attacked the camps of herders and carried off droves of sheep and goats and camels. At that time, they sacrificed to the Lord 700 heads of cattle, 7,000 sheep and goats from the plunder they had brought back. The sheep is Aries, the goat is Capricorn, and the camel is Camelopardalis, which is in Gemini. They brought 7 bulls and 7 rams, 7 male lambs, and 7 male goats as a sin offering. So this is always, why is it always the same animals? The bull, Taurus, the ram, Aries, connecting signs, the goat, Capricorn. Why do they always sacrifice these 3 specific zodiac signs? It's never a chicken. They're never sacrificing a dog. There's no mentions of cats in the Bible, so that doesn't even count. It's always the same animals. You'd have to be a fool to think that it's not connected. 3 of the 12 signs, 1/4 of the zodiac is mentioned in the Bible. And I mentioned this in my last video, guys. I don't give you every single example of astrotheology. I just give you the ones that mention a bunch in a short burst. If I did that, my slides, I have 26 slides on this one. If I did that for this one, I would have like 60 slides. And it would just be redundant because I'm trying to show you what they're trying to do here. Now, Hezekiah, king of Judah, provided 1,000 bulls and 7,000 sheep and goats for the assembly. As soon as the order went out, the Israelites generously gave their first fruits of their grain, new wine, olive oil, and honey. So the bulls are Taurus, and the sheep are Aries, connecting signs. The goat is Capricorn. The grain is Virgo, the wine and olive oil are Libra. These 2 are connecting signs. And the honey is the beehive cluster, which is in Cancer. Incidentally, Cancer and Capricorn are opposing signs. So look at all these connections that they're making in this. And this is, my friends, this is Chronicles 1 and 2, or 1-2 Chronicles. I'm going to get all these videos up. I'm going to pump them out. And then hopefully you guys could share. Let me know if you think it's a good idea for me to do, like, let's say, a PowerPoint presentation of, like, one example of astrotheology from every single book. Let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see too.